probably have to get closer than that. We're going to have to scooch. I'm going to have my U.S. Attorney folks on either side of me, but then you can be right. Yeah, let's get some folks on that side. Come on up. Once Mark gets the... Josh and Katie. Rachel, Emily.
Sorry, gentlemen.
Josh, you should stand with Jerome.
Yeah, we got 4, so 2 on each side. Katie, you want to hug up to the chief?
I will hug up to the chief.
Yeah, he's a good one to hug up. Rachel or Emily? Yeah, Josh. All right, I think we got everybody that we need. Good afternoon. My name is Rob McGuire. I'm the acting United States Attorney for the Middle District of Tennessee. Today we are announcing the indictments and arrests of 38 defendants, including 8 members and associates of MS-13 on a variety of federal charges involving the trafficking of fentanyl, methamphetamine, and cocaine, carjacking, assault on law enforcement, federal firearms offenses, and immigration offenses. The law enforcement representatives that you see up here represent the work of over 15 federal, state, and local agencies who are collaborating together under the Homeland Security Task Force recently announced. Now, while the task force is a new iteration, the efforts that these agencies have been working on go back several years. The Homeland Security Task Force is a whole-of-government partnership dedicated to eliminating criminal cartels, foreign gangs, transnational criminal organizations, human smuggling, and trafficking rings operating in the United States and abroad. Through historic interagency collaboration, the HSTF directs the full might of United States law enforcement towards identifying, investigating, and prosecuting the full spectrum of crimes committed by criminal organizations within the United States. Our office, through the HSTF and our partnership with federal, state, and local law enforcement agencies, is dedicated to working together to accomplish the mission of HSTF and to make communities safer for the residents of Middle Tennessee. The efforts we're going to discuss today illustrate law enforcement's commitment to stopping gang violence, combating the scourge of deadly fentanyl overdoses, holding offenders accountable for the havoc they have wreaked in our communities, and working together, these agencies have made our communities throughout Middle Tennessee safer and stronger. Working together, we will provide real justice for hurting families in Tennessee who have suffered for too long at the hands of these criminals and their organizations. The investigations and cases that you see up here represented on the placards behind our law enforcement partners represent hundreds of hours of work by investigators and prosecutors who tirelessly dedicated themselves to the betterment of our community and all of the people who live here. It is my honor to introduce to you today some of the people who have worked diligently to produce these positive results and make our community safer and stronger. First, from the United States Attorney's Office, I want to introduce Assistant U.S. Attorney Katie Reisinger, who is our Director of our Homeland Security Task Force operations here at USAO, Assistant U.S. Attorney Rachel Stevens, who is the Deputy Chief over our General Crimes and Organized Crime Units, and Assistant U.S. Attorney Josh Kurtzman, and Assistant U.S. Attorney Emily Petro, who are the lead prosecutors in the cases we are talking about today. You'll hear from some of our law enforcement partners later in this presentation, but I want to recognize the following agencies who, through their representatives, have worked very diligently on the efforts we are talking about. I want to start with our federal partners and first represent Homeland Security Investigations Acting Special Agent in Charge Colin Jackson. Representing the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives, Special Agent in Charge Jamie Van Vliet. Representing the Federal Bureau of Investigation, Assistant Special Agent in Charge Jeff Pfeiffer. Representing the United States Army's Criminal Investigation Division, Special Agent in Charge John McCabe. Representing the Criminal Investigations Branch of the Internal Revenue Service, Supervisory Special Agent Barrett Dixon. Representing the U.S. Postal Service Investigations, Postal Inspector Team Leader Greg Smith. Our United States Marshal Denny King is here. Denny's trying to hide from the cameras, but he's here. And representing the United States Secret Service's Special Agent in Charge, Andy Kirk. Our state and local partners who we are very proud to work with on these anti-violence efforts. Representing the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation, Special Agent in Charge Danny Espinoza. Representing the Tennessee Department of Corrections, the Director of the Office of Investigations and Conduct, Harmon Hunsaker. Representing the Metro Nashville Police Department, John Drake. Representing the Cumberland County Sheriff's Office, Sheriff Casey Cox. Now again, I'll call some of the partners to the podium momentarily, but I want to give you a brief overview of some of the cases and defendants charged as part of this tremendous collaborative effort. All of the cases that I'm about to mention were worked in conjunction with HSTF agencies and personnel. I want to note that each indictment is an accusation only and that all defendants are presumed innocent until proven guilty in a court of law. In United States versus Rodriguez and United States versus Mendoza, we charged Victor Alfonso Paez Rodriguez and Jesus Mendoza Vieira, both of whom are illegally in the United States, with trafficking fentanyl from Mexico and into our community here. HSI was the lead agency with great assistance from MNPD. In United States versus Copeland, we indicted Trinell Copeland, Tabria Bowens, Cassandra Lawson, Alicia Barman, and Ashanti Williams, with offenses related to the trafficking of fentanyl, methamphetamine, and marijuana into Trousdale County Correctional Facility. The lead agency was the FBI with great assistance from the Tennessee Department of Correction. In United States versus Bangias, we charged Debbie Bangias, an MS-13 member, with carjacking, use of a firearm during that carjacking, and unlawful possession of a firearm. The lead federal agencies were ATF and HSI in collaboration with the MNPD. In United States versus Contreras Arita, we indicted two MS-13 members, Kevin Yasir Contreras Arita and Jose Pena, and an MS-13 associate, David Dubon Enamorado, with illegal reentry into the United States, drug trafficking, and assault on a federal law enforcement officer with a deadly weapon. The lead federal agencies were HSI and ATF in collaboration with MNPD. We charged an MS-13 member, Leonel Vargas, in a standalone indictment with trafficking cocaine and marijuana, possession of a firearm in furtherance of a drug trafficking crime, and being an illegal alien in possession of a firearm. The lead federal agencies were ATF and HSI in collaboration with MNPD. We also charged an MS-13 associate, Anthony Vargas, in a standalone indictment with being an illegal alien unlawfully in possession of a firearm. In that case, we have alleged that Anthony Vargas was caught with a stolen firearm, which is ballistic associations to the homicide of a 14-year-old girl. The lead federal agencies were ATF and HSI in collaboration with MNPD. In United States versus Sandoval, we charged 13 defendants, including one MS-13 member and one MS-13 associate, as part of a methamphetamine and cocaine distribution conspiracy resulting from a months-long federal wiretap investigation. The lead agencies were Army CID and the Drug Enforcement Administration, with great assistance from FBI, ATF, HSI, the United States Marshal Service, the United States Secret Service, TBI, MNPD, and the Tennessee Highway Patrol. This was truly a collaborative effort in this case, and Army CID did an excellent job of putting the pieces together, and all of our federal partners worked together with our state and local partners in a complicated takedown operation that resulted in all the defendants being arrested with no injuries to law enforcement or to the public. Finally, in United States versus Tolliver, we charged 12 defendants with trafficking in fentanyl sourced from outside the United States, as well as multiple federal firearms charges. Crossville and the area that Sheriff Cox polices has experienced a spike in the number of overdose deaths linked to fentanyl. Some of those overdoses are connected to the drug trafficking activities charged in this case. The lead agencies were FBI, TBI, and the Cumberland County Sheriff's Office, with great assistance from HSI, the Putnam County Sheriff's Office, and the Tennessee Highway Patrol. Now, this effort simply does not happen without the coordination between law enforcement agencies, which is what the HSTF is designed to promote. While all of these agencies have their own areas of expertise and areas of responsibility, the idea behind the Homeland Security Task Force is to bring these resources together for the betterment of the community, to try to lower the amount of trafficking and fentanyl overdoses, to lower the amount of gang violence, to stop the flow of illegal drugs and firearms into our communities. That is the effort that HSTF is designed to carry out, and that is the effort that you see illuminated in the cases that we have charged and the arrests we are announcing today. With that, I'd like to call HSI Acting SAC Colin Jackson to the podium for his remarks.
Thank you, Rob. Good afternoon. My name is Colin Jackson. I'm the Acting Special Agent in charge for Homeland Security Investigations here in Tennessee and the state of Kentucky. As Acting U.S. Attorney McGuire just mentioned, the Homeland Security Task Force here in Nashville is off to a strong start and already making a significant impact here in Middle Tennessee. As the task force continues to grow, we remain committed to dismantling criminal networks that threaten our communities, not only through the distribution of narcotics, but also through the violence inherent to their illicit trade. The Homeland Security Task Force was created to end the presence of criminal cartels, foreign gangs, and transnational criminal organizations throughout the United States. By employing a whole-of-government approach, the task force is uniquely positioned to identify and target these criminal organizations for prosecution. The enhanced interagency collaboration allows us to address the threats to the U.S. homeland more effectively and efficiently than any single agency could do alone. The cases highlighted today demonstrate the power of collaboration between federal, state, and local law enforcement agencies. Thanks to the dedication and hard work of the agents and officers involved, key members of these criminal organizations have been apprehended and will be held to account for their actions. I am confident our communities are safer today because of the enforcement activity we are announcing. HSI stands proudly alongside our partners on the Homeland Security Task Force and our shared commitment to eliminating the influence of foreign terrorist organizations, cartels, and transnational criminal organizations from the United States. Together, we are steadfast in our dedication to protecting our communities, and we will continue to take decisive action to ensure the safety, security, and well-being of the American people. Thank you.
Thank you, Colin. Now I'd like to invite ATF Special Agent in Charge Jamie Van Vliet to the podium for his remarks.
Thank you. Good afternoon. I'm Jamie Van Vliet. I'm the Special Agent in Charge for ATF's Nashville Field Division. Our communities continue to suffer from senseless acts of violence that are perpetrated by individuals who show blatant disregard for public safety. This violence, inflicted on our communities, destabilizes neighborhoods and undermines the quality of life for the many law-abiding citizens. I stand here today to reaffirm ATF's shared commitment to combating violent crime. As evidence of this commitment, we've recently teamed with the Metro Nashville Police Department and Homeland Security Investigations as part of the Matador Task Force, bringing all our collective resources to bear to focus on and disrupt violent criminal organizations such as MS-13 plaguing our streets. Some of the cases mentioned by Acting U.S. Attorney McGuire, charging offenses such as carjacking, illegal firearms possession, and the use of firearms in the commission of a violent crime, are examples of this group's work and impact. Moving forward, we pledge to continue these collective efforts to thwart violent crime and those offenders driving violence in and around Nashville. As such, I also want to express my gratitude for the collaboration among all law enforcement partners here today and the U.S. Attorney's Office for their vital roles in this fight to keep our communities safe. Thank you.
Thank you, Jamie. Now I'd like to invite Army CID Special Agent in Charge John McCabe to the podium for his remarks.
Good afternoon. I want to take this moment to highlight the incredible partnerships that has made this operation possible. Army CID, along with the DEA, ATF, HSI, TBI, 19th Judicial Drug Task Force, National Metro Police, and various federal, state, and local agencies work collaboratively and against a significant drug trafficking organization linked to MS-13. The investigation showcases the strength of our multi-agency approach. By pooling our resources, expertise, and intelligence, we effectively targeted and dismantled a complex network that poses a serious threat to our communities. The commitment to all agencies involved demonstrated our shared dedication to public safety and our resolve to combat drug trafficking and organized crime. By actively engaging in this fight against the drug trafficking organizations, we reinforce the Army's commitment to maintain the integrity and safety of our personnel and their families. The Army is not just a military force, it is a community that thrives on trust, support, and shared values. The threat posed by organized crime, particularly drug trafficking, can undermine the well-being of our soldiers and their loved ones. This operation exemplifies our proactive stance in safeguarding our community and ensures our soldiers can focus on their mission without the distractions or dangers posed by such criminal activities. I want to thank all the agencies involved for their hard work and their dedication to this mission. It is through our partnerships that we achieve meaningful results in protecting our communities. Thank you.
Thank you. Now I'd like to invite TBI Special Agent in Charge Danny Espinoza to the podium for his remarks.
Good afternoon. My name is Danny Espinosa. I'm Special Agent in Charge of the Tennessee Bureau Drug Investigation Division in East Tennessee. Increasingly proud to stand here today alongside these dedicated men and women you see behind us or with us. Just as important that you don't see are the workers who tirelessly worked for months to stop the spread of dangerous and deadly drugs in our Tennessee. Together, our teams uncovered a pipeline of fentanyl being funneled into East Tennessee. Those drugs were taking lives and tearing families apart. Through persistence, coordination, and determination, we identified the threat and took decisive actions to shut it down. Through persistence and coordination, again, we shut it down, and today I'm proud to say because of this group's hard work and relentless commitment, the pipeline has been dismantled. Lives have been saved, and East Tennessee is now a safer place to live, work, and raise a family. I want to be clear, this kind of success does not happen without collaboration. We'd like to mention the Appalachia HIDTA, High-Intensity Drug Trafficking Area Task Force, gets the attention it deserves, but it's the driving force that makes an operation like this possible. And rest assured, we're not stopping here. We remain committed to working together to deliver in our mission to protect the innocent and hold the guilty accountable. Thank you.
Thanks, Danny. Now I'd like to invite my friend Chief John Drake with the Metro Nashville Police Department for his remarks.
Thank you. Good afternoon. Just over 2 years ago, detectives in our Specialized Investigations Division saw a rise in violent crime, including non-lethal shooting and homicides connected to the transnational criminal organization MS-13. In the summer of 2024, we established a joint task force with the ATF to stop the violence associated with MS-13. Detectives and agents working closely together successfully identified and apprehended multiple members of a mostly local MS-13 clique. These persons have been charged at both federal and state levels for various violent and drug offenses. We also took more than 40 guns off the streets, as well as large amounts of narcotics. You've heard me say before that our police department works closely with our federal partners to identify and prosecute violent criminals who are posing a real threat to Nashvillians and our city's neighborhoods. The investigation we're speaking about today has done just that, and Nashville is safer because of it. I am grateful to Acting U.S. Attorney Rob McGuire for his friendship and the partnership over many years to all of our law enforcement partners. I think Middle Tennessee is unique in our support of each other to ensure community safety.
Thank you, Chief. And I'd like to invite Sheriff Casey Cox with the Cumberland County Sheriff's Office for his remarks.
Good afternoon. First off, I would like to thank the United States Attorney's Office and our other federal, state, and local law enforcement agencies that are represented here today. Our community, like so many others across the country, have felt the devastating effects of fentanyl, and it has scourged across the United States. I can speak that families in Cumberland County, where I serve as sheriff, have lost loved ones to overdoses, and those losses are felt deeply across our community. Thanks to the hard work and teamwork between the Cumberland County Sheriff's Office, the Appalachia HIDA that was spoke of earlier, the FBI, TBI, U.S. Attorney's Office, the United States Marshal Service, and other federal, state, and local partners, we've made a real progress in disrupting the fentanyl distribution within our region. Operation We Will Rock You started when one of our local narcotics investigators noticed a spike in overdose deaths within our community. His work led to uncovering a major drug trafficking organization operating within Middle Tennessee. And if you don't know where Cumberland County is, we're about 2 hours east of here in Nashville. So, and through the months of teamwork and dedication by the agencies represented here today, those responsible were taken off the streets. The community is safer today because of the men and women who commit themselves every day to protecting others. Their work saves lives. The Appalachia HIDA motto says it best: there's no limit to what we can accomplish if we don't worry about who gets the credit. That's exactly how these partnerships work. Everyone focused on one goal, and that's keeping our communities safe. When we work together, we make Cumberland County and Tennessee a safer place, a stronger place to live, work, and raise a family. Thank you all.
Thank you, Sheriff. I have maybe a couple minutes for questions if people have them. I'll start with the lady in the front.
Hey, Travis Lawler with the Associated Press. I just have a question. So you mentioned a bunch of different cases. Are they related at all, or what's the?
Yeah, they're all cases that have been worked on and prosecuted under this overall aegis of our Homeland Security Task Force. So they all have a through line of dangerous drugs for the most part, drugs that in some cases we can tie to having come from outside the United States, or drugs that are connected to transnational criminal organizations like MS-13. So those are sort of the hooks that you see kind of running throughout. And then of course we know that fentanyl trafficking results in overdoses and attendant violence. And so there are connections to that. We also know MS-13 is a violent criminal organization. There are connections to that. But that's the through line that puts all these cases together. Stephen.
Yeah, Stephen Hale from the Nashville Banner. Just about the task force, you mentioned, and a couple people have mentioned that this kind of collaboration has been going on for some time. It seems like maybe this is just formalizing it more. Can you say more about how working under this task force umbrella will change?
Sure.
How you work together?
I don't know that it'll change a lot. We are basically working under the Homeland Security Task Force, but we have been blessed in the Middle District of Tennessee with having exceptional collaborations with state and local partners for the last several years. So we're really just kind of putting that in a little more concrete in the sense of now we have a task force that is really going after transnational criminal organizations, fentanyl traffickers, gang violence, all of which the men and women that represent these agencies were doing before. The idea is we hope with more collaboration, with more resources when we join together, we can make a greater impact than any of the agencies would have been able to do by themselves. Yes, ma'am.
So just a quick clarifying question. So the 38 cases, are those under this task force or are those due to the previous collaboration and now being announced?
So there's 38 defendants.
Okay.
First of all, that's right. And it's spread out, I think, 8 to 9, 10 cases. Some of them, of course, the investigation started before this task force was announced. that then, of course, had crossover to the mission of that task force. And some of them are started since the task force began.
And what will the scope of the task force be going forward?
Well, you've heard the kind of representative work that we have done so far, which is how we intend to go on, which is trafficking of dangerous narcotics, gang violence, gang members, gun violence, illegal firearms possession. That's what we're going to be focused on in the Homeland Security Task Force, the kind of real violent and dangerous crime that affects the lives of Tennesseans every day. Yes, sir.
Yep. Eli, Monica at the Nashville scene. It seems like your office, the U.S. Attorney's Office, is a convener of this task force.
It's not a bad way to put it. I hadn't thought about it like that, but it's not a bad way to put it.
Put it in words so that
Yeah.
Was this the impetus to formalize this relationship? Was it something that came from the Department of Justice? Was the Attorney General involved at all, or did you just wake up one day and decide to?
I think it's safe to say that while we are the convener here in the Middle District of Tennessee, there are going to be Homeland Security Task Forces across the United States in various areas of responsibility. So as a U.S. Attorney, I sit not only in the Middle District of Tennessee, but have the ability to command the resources of the Justice Department, federal agencies, and collaborate with state and local partners.
Was it your idea, or did it come?
Oh, no, it wasn't my idea. I'm not going to claim credit for that. No, this is something that is happening in other task forces across the United States.
Did you get an order or an email from the Department of Justice?
I know that there was a directive that we're going to stand up these Homeland Security Task Forces. I can't remember how it came to me. Anybody? Yes, ma'am.
So is this the first task force like across the United States, or how does that like expand? I know that you mentioned.
Yeah. I don't know if we're first. I can tell you I think we're best, but I don't know if we're first. But I know that this is something you're probably going to see more of in this district and other places.
And then also, kind of bouncing off that, we did see the Department of Homeland Security call center kind of pop up this morning. Does this have anything to do with that?
No. Yes, ma'am.
To get a better sense of timeline, wondering how far some of these cases date back to, and when was the official maybe starting point for the official task force?
I'm sorry, say that one more time. I missed it.
I'm trying to get a better sense of timeline. Can you explain maybe how long some of these cases date back to, like when these first started being investigated, and then when was the first opening day of this new task force?
I tell you, one of the ways that I think I'm going to answer that question, I'm going to call on Assistant Special Agent Jeff Pfeiffer with the FBI, and I want him to make some remarks, and maybe he might have some of the answers to your question. If he can't, then I'll follow up with you. But I want to invite Jeff to the podium now.
Good afternoon. I'm Jeff Pfeiffer, Assistant Special Agent in charge of the FBI Nashville Field Office, which serves the state of Tennessee. Thank you to Acting U.S. Attorney Rob McGuire and team for hosting us here today. The FBI has long prioritized the fight against violent gangs and transnational criminal organizations, particularly cartels, that fentanyl across our borders and drive the drug crisis in our country. But what we face today is more complex, more violent, and more interconnected than ever before. To effectively dismantle these transnational criminal organizations, the FBI and our partners at HSI spearheaded the creation and implementation of a nationwide Homeland Security Task Force network. This allows us to extend our reach, share intelligence in real time, and target these threats at every level. It is the first of its kind using a whole-of-government approach. This task force represents the power of partnership, combined federal, state, and local resources to address these threats more effectively than any agency can do alone. The mission is to identify and target for prosecution transnational criminal organizations engaged in diverse criminal schemes involving a myriad of federal violations both within the United States and throughout the world. As an example, in partnership with Cumberland County Sheriff's Office, TBI Appalachia HIDA, Crossville Police Department, and HSI, we investigated a multi-kilogram fentanyl and methamphetamine dealer supplying upwards of 20-plus mid-level dealers with quantities of fentanyl and crystal methamphetamine in the Cumberland County, Crossville, Tennessee area. This case targeted a cartel-fed fentanyl organization that touched gangs and severely impacted the community. These aren't just investigations or statistics for us. Transnational criminal organizations have enabled violence to intrude into multiple communities around the country at the same time, making it inescapable for some to not be impacted by the flood of drugs and violence. This destroys lives and fuels fear. Our focus is not just on response, but on prevention. Through intelligence, data analysis, and strategic partnerships, we will work to stop threats before more lives are put at risk. Trust with our partners and the public is the backbone of an effective Homeland Security. We're committed to accountability and working side by side with those we serve. Thank you.
Thank you, Jeff. I appreciate that. I wanted to just follow on to some of the things that Jeff talked about. You know, I think we probably started in March with a lot of these efforts. Now, of course, some of them are already underway, as the chief described. You know, all of these communities are responding to the problems in their own community, and we don't. The last thing we want to do is step on that. We'd like to work collaboratively with them. So we don't want to come in and Bigfoot their investigation. I know that's a popular thing that the feds do in the movies, but we try really hard not to do that. And so because of that, we worked with them and got their consent and agreement to work together on some of these investigations. Yes, sir.
Today, November 6th, the first day that the task force was kind of officialized.
I think, you know, in terms of a public announcement, I think that's probably right. I mean, we've been working on this for months and under this aegis, but now we're in a position today where we want to try to show Tennesseans what we've been doing and how important we think it is for the safety of our community. Yes, sir.
TBI said that the pipeline of fentanyl has been dismantled. Is this just one single pipeline of many pipelines? Is this a major pipeline? How would you kind of quantify the damage that has been done to the pipeline of fentanyl?
I think it's significant, but we know, of course, that the work continues. Unfortunately, in the drug trafficking world that all of us as law enforcement professionals have worked to combat throughout our careers, we know that when you take apart one drug trafficking organization, unfortunately, you'll just have to wait for someone else to try to take its place. But in the meantime, you might have saved the lives of teenagers who won't be overdosing on fentanyl, or people who won't be caught in the crossfire of a drive-by shooting, and that is worth doing anytime. Yes, ma'am.
Here's the VP line. I wanted to go back to the Trousdale Turner
Yeah.
case you mentioned. It's kind of notorious within the world of Department of Corrections for issues with overdoses. Can you tell me more about that case and if they kind of got a solid answer on where the drugs were coming from and through?
Yeah, I don't want to get too far into a case that not only is pending in court, but to the extent that we're going to uncover more information about things. So I'm really not going to comment on a lot of that. What I can tell you is we worked hand in glove with the Tennessee Department of Corrections to try to combat the inflow of illegal drugs into our state prisons. That's something we take very seriously at the U.S. Attorney's Office. It's something TDOC takes seriously, and we're committed to trying to stop it. But I'm probably going to leave it there because the case is in court and I don't want to compromise anything that we're trying to do. Yes, ma'am.
How does immigration enforcement fit into this task force? Is there anything that's going to be done outside of criminal activity in terms of immigration enforcement by this task force?
So this task force, like we've said, is focused entirely on combating illegal drugs, transnational criminal organizations, drug cartels, gang violence, MS-13, TDA, those kinds of groups. That's what we're going to be focusing on. We want to stop the amount of fentanyl overdoses in places where Sheriff Cox lives. You know, terrible scourge of overdoses in a community that has been racked with fentanyl. And we need to do something about that. And that's what we really want to spend a lot of time focused on, is to try to limit the number of families who have to grieve loved ones because of fentanyl overdoses. You know, similarly, we had a case earlier this year that I talked to everybody about TDA, trafficking women for sexual servitude. This case involved, these cases we've talked about today involve MS-13 members, a very dangerous violent street gang. That's what this task force is going to be focusing on, stopping gang violence, stopping overdoses, stopping fentanyl trafficking here in Tennessee. All right, I think those are the questions I'm planning on taking, but I appreciate it. In closing, I want Tennesseans to know that our law enforcement collaborations do not end with the indictments and arrests that we're announcing today. While today is a day for us to reflect on the hard work that this milestone brings, everyone up here also knows that the hard work continues. Too many Tennessee families are suffering from the scourge of overdoses, narcotics trafficking, and the illegal possession of firearms, as well as gang violence. Working together with the Homeland Security Task Force, this group of law enforcement will work undeterred and steadfastly to continue to do whatever it takes to keep fentanyl out of our communities, to stamp out gang violence, and to ensure a safer and stronger community for all Tennesseans. Thank you very much for coming today.
Chief.
Thank you.
Sorry, I'm a little bit sweaty.
Oh, no, it's pretty warm. It's pretty warm. Good job.